How's it going, everybody? My name's Matt, and welcome back to my channel. Today I've got something kind of interesting, or at least that I think some of you might find interesting. So, as you can probably tell, this is my 2017 Subaru WRX STI. I've owned it for about 4 months now, and in that time I've put about 7,000 miles on it, which I believe is quite a bit above average as far as mileage to be on a daily driver car. In that time, I've driven all the way from Iowa to Boulder, Colorado, which is where I'm living right now and where I'm filming this video. And I just want to give you guys kind of an idea of what it's like to own this car on a daily basis, to live with it, to drive it, and just generally what it's like to own. So yeah, let's get going. I'm pretty happy that I can say that I actually do own this car. You know, I've heard from a lot of people since I've bought this thing, and you know, this is actually a dream car for a lot of people. It's a really cool car. It's a rally kind of legend status sort of car, and for the most part, I would say it lives up to the hype. All right, I'm just gonna get going here. So, like I said, I've owned it for about 7,000 miles now, and in that amount of time, about 5,000 or 6,000 of that has been with these Bozo Edition Remark axleback. It's basically a muffler delete, so it is louder than normal. This car was actually very, very quiet when I bought it, and I would say most of the time, you know, that adds a lot to the experience. The only thing I'm getting tired of is it, you know, being very loud on cold starts in the morning. It's kind of annoyed my neighbors so far, but that's okay. That's kind of a car guy problem. It's like price of admission. But yeah, so this car's got 48,000 miles on it. Well, technically 47,994, so just about 48,000 miles. And oh, well, I guess that means I've put almost 8,000 miles on it. My bad. Regardless of the big wing in the back and its really aggressive stance, you know, everybody thinks this car is going to be some rocket ship. And I'll be honest, like, yes, it is fast when you want it to be, but as a daily driver, it's actually like a really tame car. You can absolutely daily drive it like easily. You know, power doesn't actually start coming on until right about, you know, 2,800 to 3,000 RPMs, which means you do actually kind of have to be getting on it a little bit for it to get into that turbo and for you to really start feeling the boost. You know, you can kind of drive it around lower throttle, you know, below 3,000 RPM all day long and really just kind of have a leisurely drive. With that being said, I don't do that. I tend to actually kind of, you know, I'm shifting around 3,500 to 4,000 in most daily driving scenarios. Just know that, like, if you're worried about this thing, you know, having bad manners or just being a chore to daily drive, I would say absolutely that's not a problem. The shifter on this car is very direct. It's almost, you could say, notchy, but I would say, like, kind of in a good way. It's just very mechanical. You can really feel what it's doing. Steering ratio, it's really fast steering ratio. Like, you really feel what's going on in the front end, and at the same time, like, small bits of steering input equate to a large amount of movement of the front end. So where that's great is like up in the canyons, like up there. It's just a blast to really like hit hard, hit apexes, and try to, like, you know, keep a nice flow up there in the mountains. It's actually something that this car shares with the Fiesta ST of all things. Not a lot of people realize it, but the Ford Fiesta ST has a really, really fast steering ratio. This one, I believe, is just barely quicker. I don't know the spec offhand. I think it's maybe like 12 something to 1, but don't quote me on that. Just know that any 2015 and up WRX STI has that ratio. The regular WRX does not have that ratio. So if you like a really go-karty steering feel, you're not gonna get that out of the WRX. You kind of have to go up to that STI, which, like I said, you know, it's a faster car, but is it that much faster? I don't know, not in stock form. I mean, you can probably have a lot of fun in a WRX. You're just not gonna get that really, you know, bolt action rifle mechanical shifter and that really fast steering ratio. And frankly, I've driven both. The engine in this car just feels so much more lively. Like, the WRX makes more, you know, low-end torque, but this car just sings up top. It makes you want to push it. And in situations where you're in performance driving, where you're really like wanting to feel the enjoyment of a car, I think that matters more, if that makes any sense. you know, aside from the driving experience, from the actual, you know, tactile experience of driving this car, there's a lot of stuff that I don't think people really talk about. They have a reputation for being unreliable, and now I think in some ways it's true. There's definitely a lot of these cars that have blown up, but I also do think that that's at least minorly overhyped or over exaggerated. There's actually, like, so when I bought this car, I found out there's like a Bible of stuff you need to know about owning the EJ25 motor that's in this car. Well, EJ257 I believe is the actual nomenclature, but basically this engine is based on a much older design. You know, similar engines to this were in cars in like the 1990s. So the heart of this car is very old school, and with that, there's just certain things about it you've got to know. And once again, like, I'm happy to make a whole video about that later on if you want. Oh man, I wish I wasn't behind this Subaru. If you want, I can make a video about that, just talking about all the, you know, all the eccentricities of this engine and just things to know to make sure you keep it reliable. But once you know them as a street car, like, this engine is going to be just as reliable as any other engine. Just basically just know you've got to maintain it correctly, and really just remember that it's not indestructible. I think that's where a lot of people have gotten into trouble with these cars. You know, you'll see people clutch dump at 6,000 RPM so that they can take off out of the hole really fast and do these crazy rally, you know, style launches and stuff, and that will destroy this car. Like, yes, it can do it now and then, or you know, sometimes, but you really shouldn't be doing it much. I've done one launch in this car since I've owned it. I did it at 4,000 RPM, and for one thing, it scared the crap out of me because I've never actually accelerated from 0 to like 60 that fast. You know, a lot of cars say they can do it as quick as this car, but when you actually go to do it, you have to be a pro to actually get that number. Like they'll have wheel spin, or they'll, you know, do a burnout as you're trying to get away, and you just won't go as fast. This thing just hooked and got out of there. Like, it really, like, it is fast as crap from a stop. But like I said, you know, you really don't want to be doing that very often. These cars have obviously all-wheel drive, but unlike the regular WRX, these have 3 limited slip differentials. One in the front, one in the middle, and one in the back. Which means it's constantly, like, mechanically keeping the wheels from spinning. So all 4 wheels just have a ton of grip. And when you really launch it hard, you know, that means none of them spin from a launch. Which is, if you're following this, essentially there's got to be something that takes that stress, and from what I noticed, it's absolutely the clutch. The clutch is actually I would call a wear item in this car. I had to have it replaced right after buying it at 40,000 miles, which I don't think is exactly normal. I think they usually last a little longer than that, but it is to say I had to do it. So I don't know if the previous driver did a whole bunch of launches or just didn't drive it right, but the clutch was bad in this car when I first got it. And oh wait, one second, here's a curve. Oh, this brings up another thing. Heel and toe downshifting is super good in this car. It's like really easy. Well, that's 60 in a 20 mile an hour zone. So that was heel toe into second. Oh, that's just fun. Alright, let's slow it down. That's faster than I really should be going, so. Where was I? Okay, so yeah, and along the line of the clutch being kind of the biggest wear item, you know, when I did that launch, I noticed, like, the clutch actually, like, I could smell it for like 2 minutes. If you've ever smelled like a burnt clutch, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like this weird smoky metallic-y smell that doesn't go away until the clutch cools off. It felt pretty bad after that, and I decided I wasn't really going to launch it, you know, on the pavement again like that. It's just too hard on it. I don't want to do that to this car. Sure, rally cars can take it, but rally cars get built or rebuilt like twice a year, so whatever. Now, back to kind of the practical aspects of this car. One thing I want everyone to know, I really want you to know this, is that if you've been hyping up one of these cars and you've been wanting one for a long time, and it's your dream car, like, don't be afraid of the fear-mongering that so many people will tell you about them. Like, the second I was considering an STI, I was told, oh, it's gonna blow up, you can't trust it, head gaskets, derp, 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 oh, you're an idiot if you buy that car. No, I think that's bullshit. Like, it's been reliable, it's been fine. I've been putting a lot of highway miles on it and just driving it around, and I think it'll last a long time like that. There are a lot of people that have had bad experiences, and while that may be true, there's also a lot of people that have had good experiences. And the ones who have good ones don't generally talk about it nearly as much as the ones who have bad ones. So just remember that. Lastly, I will leave you with just a little tidbit of knowledge that you know, you're going to get crappy gas mileage in this car. It really gets atrocious gas mileage. Daily driving, I would say probably 60 to 70% highway and, like, you know, 30 to 40% city. I average like 17 to 18 miles to the gallon, which I don't know if you're up to date on current trends of cars, but, you know, that's like worse than a lot of full-size pickups. And that's just coming from a 2.5 liter four-cylinder, you know, an economical four-cylinder. Whenever I tell people that, they're like, what? You get that bad gas mileage? Like, my girlfriend's Jeep Wrangler gets, you know, better gas mileage. Her Wrangler gets like 24 or something with a turbo four-cylinder. And here's little old me with my 20-year-old engine design getting frickin' 17. But, you know, it's fine. I don't care. I didn't buy it for gas mileage, and I'll just keep telling myself that forever, because I like what this car brings to the table. And this is what it brings to the table. That engine just feels so good. Like, it's got so much character, and it growls at you, and it just makes the right sounds and gives you the right feeling when you're driving it. That's what matters. And the community is so good around these cars. Like, I'm from the Miata community, I would say, for the most part. Like, I've driven Miatas for most of my car enthusiast life. And as a lot of Miata people know, Miata people stick together. They love their cars, and they love being friends and just making new friends and talking about cars and doing fun stuff. Well, I've noticed the exact same thing through these cars. Like, I've met so many people in just the last 3 to 4 months since I've bought this car, and so many of them are just so passionate about the brand. They're passionate about their car, and they're social. Like, they're willing to help you with things. They give advice, whatever. It's just a great community to be in, and I'm happy to be in it. If you guys have any questions about this car, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them there, or, you know, possibly if enough people have enough questions, I might just make a whole video dedicated to answering questions about the car. I know multiple people who are professionals in the Subaru field, and they have a lot of information and a lot of years experience, so I can kind of bank on that a little bit in the background if it's something I don't know. But until then, until the next video, I hope you guys have a great day, and yeah, peace out. See you in the next one.